form of intrusion. Okay. Now, the intrusion techniques which would be developed to identify the intruder or to identify whether the intrusion has occurred or not will be focusing upon the fact that you are trying to find those events which have an objective to gain access into the system, or which are trying to find out those cases which are escalating the privileges of the existing users, which are authorized users. Okay, so any initial attack, if it has been present onto the system, or it is, or any vulnerability which is present onto your system can be used to launch the attack. Okay, so obviously we had considered one of the case where we had found that there was a buffer overflow attack which had identified the vulnerability of gettys function. Okay, now these vulnerabilities can be used anyhow into your system, and there can be intruders present, and intruders can launch those attacks to gain access to the resources which are part of your system. Okay. The other case could be that your intruder only tries to gain access to the password files which are there onto the system. So whatever intrusion techniques are there, all of these techniques will have specific behaviors. Clear? So hackers, I guess this needs not to be discussed once again. Fine. So when we're talking about the intrusion, first case what would be done is that we'll have to create an intrusion detection system to identify those events which have led to the malicious behavior which are visible into your system. Once an intrusion detection system has been developed, then you would develop an intrusion prevention system. Okay. Now, whenever any intrusion is detected or it needs to be identified, all of those can be on the basis of a masquerader, or it can be on the basis of misleader, or it can be on the basis of any clandestine user. Okay, so the techniques and the behavior patterns of intruders are constantly shifting as of now. So where are they shifting? They need to exploit the newly discovered weaknesses and evade the detection and countermeasures which are there onto the system. So these are the traditional behaviors of a particular intruder. Okay, now there are certain intrusion detection systems which can be effective against, uh, let's say, known attacks, or those attacks which are very less sophisticated. Okay, now when you have such systems which are only effective against known attack and effective against less sophisticated attacks, obviously they would be less effective against more sophisticated and more targeted attacks. Okay, for example, we have zero-day attacks or zero-day exploits. So these are those attacks whose information is present nowhere. It's a new attack which has come onto your system. So your intrusion detection system is not built in such a case that it can identify the zero attack as a possible intrusion which is happening onto your system. Okay. In such case, what might happen is that the attacker is trying to have a better obscurity of its activities on the entire targeted system. Okay, so whatever defenses which need to be developed onto the system need to have a defense in-depth strategy. Okay, which means that whenever we are trying to have a defense, it needs to be very strong enough, which might include multiple layers of security. Okay, now These are the possible examples of any insider who is trying to behave as an as a proper what should I say, as a proper intruder. Okay, so when we are talking about the see here there are 2 points. One is security intrusion and the other one is intrusion detection. Okay, so there is a standard which is an RFC 2828 standard. This standard defines two things. One is the security intrusion and intrusion detection. Okay, so first what needs to be done is you need to identify whether any particular activity which is happening into the system will be classified as a normal activity or will it be classified as an attack. Okay, so here if you're saying that it is an attack, it is referred as a security event. Okay, that is where read the line in a security intrusion. It is saying that a security event or a combination of multiple security events that constitutes a security incident in which an intruder gains or attempts to gain access to a system without having authorization to do so. So, variation in the or deviation in the behavior or deviation in the expected behavior will be classified as an event, which may or may not be categorized as intrusion. Okay, here one example of a possible intrusion is given that it is trying to access a system without having an authorization. So it would obviously be classified as a possible case of intrusion. Okay, so once the intrusion is identified or once when any event which can be classified as an intrusion is done, as of now you have not detected it as an intrusion. Okay, you are classifying it as a security event. Fine. Next, what comes into the play is intrusion detection. So will you classify that event as an intrusion or not? And then you, if it is classified as an intrusion, then it is referred as intrusion detection. Okay, so any security service which monitors and analyzes the system events for the purpose of finding and providing real-time or a near real-time warning of attempts to access system resources in an unauthorized manner will be classified as an intrusion detection. Okay, so here with these two definitions, you would identify that there are some components which are required to come up to the conclusion, or there are some components which will be helpful to monitor the behavior or to identify whether it's an intrusion or not. Okay, so there are three logical components which are there into any IDS. Okay, so the first one which is there is the sensor. What are your sensors? Obviously, as the name says, your sensors are responsible for collecting the data. Okay, so there can be any sensor. In case of an IDS, the sensor which is there will have a proper input and a proper output would be generated from that particular sensor. Okay, now the sensor which is there may be part of the existing system or it can be part of any other component as well. Okay, your sensor which is there into the system will only collect the data which is flowing through that system. Clear? Now the proper input, I said that it would be a proper data which is passed onto the system or the particular device. So the types of the input to a particular sensor normally includes there are packets which are flowing on. There can be log files which are there into the system, or there can be any other system files with which you can identify the entire process as an intrusion. Okay. Now, once the sensors have collected this data, the data would further be sent on to the next part, which is referred as analyzers. Now, these analyzers are the major important component, which would classify that particular collected data and the processes corresponding to those collected data as the intruder's process. Further saying that intrusion has occurred onto the system. Okay. Now here, whatever analyzer is doing, your analyzer is responsible for determining if any intrusion has occurred. Okay. And the output of this particular component would be that it's an indication whether the intrusion has occurred. Clear? The third case or the third component which is there is obviously a user interface. So your user interface for a particular IDS, it would help the user to view the output from the entire system or control the behavior of the system. Fine. Now, there can be one sensor or there can be multiple sensors. Clear? There can be only one sensor and only one analyzer. Depending upon what underlying architecture do you have and what sort of intrusion detection system you are employing into the system. So here it is said that there are two possible intrusion detection systems present. One is a host-based IDS and the other one is a network-based IDS. So I can say that in my system, I have a normal personal computer. There, if I have an IDS, I can have a specific IDS which would only monitor the activities which are happening onto my system, what our users are logging into the system, and whether these are authorized users or whether these are non-authorized users. All of these information would be monitored by an individual entity which is referred as an IDS, and since it is present on a host and it is only dealing with the activities which are flowing onto my particular host, it would be categorized as a host based IDS. Okay. The other factor is a network based IDS. So your network based IDS, it would monitor the network traffic for a particular network section, or I can say that I can deploy it at the end devices or at the routers and analyze the network, transport, and application layer protocols to identify whether the activities which are happening can be categorized as suspicious activities. Clear? So as of now, we are only considering two cases. One is the host-based and the other can be a network-based IDS. Now, whenever we are categorizing any user as an intruder, we are identifying its behavior. Okay, so I guess everybody remembers we discussed about false positives and false negative cases. What happens in false positive? Can anybody summarize it?
It gives a warning of an intrusion when there is not an intrusion, that is false positive, and false negative when there is an intrusion, but it does not consider it as an intrusion.
Okay, so you are categorizing whether the user who is trying to access is an authorized user or it is a non-authorized user. Okay, so see from the figure over here, there are so see from the figure over here, there is a graph which plots the user's behavior with the probability density function. Okay, so you can see that The typical behavior of an intruder differs from that of an authorized user. Okay. However, there is a slight overlap over here, which is a dark blue, in the behavior of both the authorized user and the behavior of an intruder. Okay, so what we can say that the a loose interpretation of intruder behavior, which will catch more intruders, will also lead to a number of false positive. Clear? Or it would be referred as false alarms, where your authorized users are identified as intruders. So if you are saying that you do not have very stringent rules on the identification of a particular intruder, in that case, you can classify some cases of false positives having authorized users also. Okay, so what we try to do is that we'll try to limit the false positives. How would you try to limit the false positive? I'll introduce a tight interpretation of the intruder behavior. Okay, if I have a very tight interpretation of intruder behavior, it will lead to an increase in the false negatives. Okay, so what needs to be done is that there needs to be a compromise between both the false positives and the eh, or there needs to be a compromise over here between the intruder behavior as well as between the authorized user behavior. What do we want? Ideally, we want any IDS to have a very high detection rate. Okay, so that means that the ratio of the detected of the total attacks is much higher, while I'm trying to minimize the cases where I have minimize the cases of false positives. Okay, so here what needs to be done is that there are problems of false positives and false negative in any IDS, but the compromise needs to be done, which limits the number of users being classified as the false users. Okay, so what needs to be done is that I need to develop a proper IDS which is able to run continually. So you do not need to have those IDs which will be only active for some instance of time, since you are already monitoring a particular system, and the activities and the decisions are being taken on the basis of activities which are happening onto the system. So it needs to be executing continuously onto the system. It also needs to be fault tolerant. There needs to be very minimal overhead onto the system, so that there would be processes which are involved in IDS as well, and there are system processes and there are other users processes. So what if your IDS is very heavy and it is taking a large computational time and computational resources, then it would obviously interfere with the other system and the users processes, which obviously will not be considered as an effective case. That I have a system which is a very secured system and is able to identify any sort of intrusion, but the performance of my system has degraded according due to which. So such systems are obviously tried to be avoided, and when you are having any intrusion detection system, it would obviously have minimal overhead on the system. And obviously, there are multiple policies which are incorporated into the IDS, which needs to be very dynamic in nature and also dynamic according to the system and the users who are trying to use it. Okay, these all points will be covered at one or the other point when we are discussing IDS. So, as discussed previously, I told that a host-based IDS would normally be introduced into a single client or into a single system. The functioning of the IDS is same as which is there in a host or which is there in a network as well. So it is traditionally same as what happens in a proper IDS. Here a specialized software would be introduced, which is IDS, that monitors the activity to detect the suspicious behavior. Okay, but here the primary purpose is to detect intrusions, log suspicious events, and send alerts. And it can detect both the internal attacks as well as external attacks. Now there are two common approaches which are involved in analyzing a user behavior and categorizing that behavior as normal users behavior and attackers behavior. Okay, so this is not just limited to host base. It's a very these both of the approaches mentioned over here can be used in either of the IDS. Okay, so it's these two are just the analysis approaches. Okay, so the first analysis approaches is anomaly detection. In case of anomaly detection, what happened is that the data is collected, which is related to the legitimate users. Okay, how is it collected? So for certain instance of time or for a certain period of time, the data corresponding to a privileged user is collected. So you can say that it is the actual behavior of the authorized user. Fine. Now the current behavior of the system is observed. Now when the current behavior of the system is observed and it is compared with the behavior which was actually collected previously. If there is deviation in the current behavior, then you would say that possibly there is an intrusion which is happening. Clear? So I'll explain it once again. Let's say on 20th of November, on 15th of November, my data was collected and the system already knew that this is the user who is an authorized user. So it would create a log file corresponding to me and save it in its file saying that this is the normal behavior of a user. Okay. Now again, at some other instance of time, if any other user logs on into the system and performs the activity, now it would compare the user's activity with the previously stored behavior. Okay. If there is any deviation between both of these, then it would trigger the event and classify that particular event as a security event, which may be classified as intrusion. Okay. The other one is a signature or a heuristic detection. So here the process is different. Here what happens is that it is observed that if there is any DOS attack which is happening, or if there is any DDoS attack which is happening, or if there is any packet sniffing attack which is happening, it would happen in a very traditional way. और एक्सपेक्टेड बिहेवियर उसका यही होगा कि अटैक ऐसे होता है कि बहुत सारे पैकेट्स आएंगे एक ही क्लाइंट से स्पूफ्ड आईपी एड्रेसेस एक ही क्लाइंट का होगा सो दिस इज an expected behavior of an attack. So here what would be done, there would be templates created of possible attacks. Okay, if any template matches with the behavior which is actually happening onto my system, clear, I would categorize that attack or that behavior as an attack. Okay, so here in a signature or a heuristic detection, this entire detection process uses a set of known malicious patterns or the signatures or certain rules which are there, which would further be compared with the behavior that is currently being happening onto the system to decide whether it is that of an intruder or not. Okay, such case is referred as misuse detection. Okay, now the drawback with the signature detection or a heuristic detection is that it can only be helpful in identifying only the known attacks. So you cannot identify those attacks which are newer attacks or which are zero-day attacks. Clear? Any doubt?
No, no, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll go ahead. So we'll discuss anomaly detection in more detail. So what is happening is that I was comparing the uh, normal behavior or the current behavior with the expected behavior. So the expected one was the one which I had already collected, and the normal is the one which I'm, or the current is the one which I'm currently having on the system. So what are the events which would trigger that this is deviation from the expected behavior? So one of the event which is there is the referred as threshold detection. So example I'll tell you. Um, let's say I'm accessing a administrative file or a system file which only the administrator is allowed to access onto the system, and I'm accessing that file multiple times. Okay, so if I am an authorized user, I would only access that file for, let's say, 5 times. I've already added a threshold कि मैं 5 times से ज़्यादा उस फाइल को access नहीं करूँगी, या फिर if I'm accessing it, I will access that file n number of times, but with very small variations in time, or with, let's say, t variations in time. And I've already saved that behavior. So the system already has the behavior that this person would be accessing can access the file. If the file is being accessed, it would not be accessed more frequently. Okay. Now, when any intruder accesses the file, he might access the file in a very random basis. So he's trying to increase the number of thresholds of accessing that file, which would be categorized as a possible case of security event that happens with the intruder. Okay, so it says that checks excessive event occurrences over time. Okay, uh, I guess I did a mistake. I'll not say it according to a profile. As of now, I'm only considering. I'll not say it according to a particular user. As of now, I'm saying it to any users. So if any system file is accessed by any of the users for n number of times, and which has led to increase in the threshold, I'll say that an event, which is a security event, has occurred, and then an anomaly detection can happen. The other thing is a profile based. So profile based would be on the basis of users. Okay, so I already have the behavior of previous users and detect the deviation in the expected behavior and the current behavior on the basis of some of the log files which are there. Now these log files will have two major informations. It can have a matrix which normally considers resource utilization, counter, or the interval time. And then once the matrices are collected, a proper analysis on the collected data and the existing data can be done on the basis of these parameters. Once this is done, further you will classify what has been done. Okay. The other thing which happens in signature detection is that since you were comparing the, you are having the template which is, or and comparing it with the current behavior. Approaches which are based on, which are used for signature detections are based on rule, because we previously told that, I previously told that it is signature or heuristic based detection. Okay, so normally, when we're talking about signature or heuristic detect techniques that are used to detect the intrusion, we are observing the events in the system and applying all of these on the set of the signature patterns or set of rules that are categorized as the data. Now, in case of a role-based heuristic identification, here the use of roles is done for identifying known penetrations. Okay, these are the known penetrations which would actually exploit the known weaknesses. So already you are aware of the vulnerabilities, and those vulnerabilities would be exploited by the already existing attacks. Okay, so here the rules can also be defined that the suspicious behavior would be identified even when the behavior is within the bounds of the established patterns. Okay, so here the rules used in such systems are specific to the machine and operating systems, and these are part of the system itself. So one of the possible intrusion detection system, which is based on signature, is referred as IDA. SNOT. So SNOT basically is a network intrusion detection system, but it has the behavior which is part of your signature detection. Okay, and the previous one which was there is a rule-based anomaly detection. So here the anomalies are identified on the basis of proper historical audit records. Clear? So you can go into the details of these concepts which are from the book. I'll only explain you the important informations. Okay, so you can go through the audit records, which can be of two types: native audit records and detection specific. It's all theory, so you'll have to go through the entire theory which is there into the reference document. Okay, um, let me explain you one of the example of network-based IDS.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, the antivirus which we use in our laptops and PC, ma'am, it is the part of IDS.
Yes, you can say it. It is part of IDS. But you have your intrusion detection systems as inbuilt operate a part of operating systems.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so when we are talking about a host base, I told you that this is a particular host on which you'll have a proper IDS. Okay, now the drawback with the host based, what are the drawbacks? Anybody can tell?
It makes the network slow because of the overhead processing and all.
Network.
I mean, any packet which is coming, we have to test it if it is an intrusion or not. So,
Network based IDS. See, there are two hosts, A and B. Okay. Only I'm talking about host IDS as of now. Okay. So if I have a host based IDS, okay, this IDS would only be effective, or I'll say it in a reverse case, this IDS will not be effective when you are analyzing the data once the activity has happened onto the system A. So IDS किसके बेसिस पे काम कर रहा था? आप करंट बिहेवियर को एक्सपेक्टेड बिहेवियर से कंपेयर करते थे. ओके, सो यू आर actually trying to compare at that instance when the activity is actually happening onto your system. I hope you are able to I understand. So you have a normal user's activity and classified it as the expected behavior. So, and the current behavior is actually happening onto your system. Okay, so there is deviation. This deviation will only be identified when the event has already occurred on the system or it is parallelly being occurring onto the system. Clear? जब ऑलरेडी ए पर एक्टिविटी या फिर इवेंट हो चुका है और आपने उसको बाद में जाकर के क्लासिफाई किया है दैट इट वाज एन इंट्रूजन, in such cases your HIDs are not effective. Got the idea?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now what needs to be done is, which says that the drawback with the HIDs is that they were not real time, or the identification of intrusion was not done in a real time manner. So now the challenge was that I need to have a real time analysis. इस टाइप के एनालिसिस का तो कोई इफेक्ट ही नहीं. Therefore, if I come up with a solution, the solution was that I'll have an NIDS. Okay, so I have two systems A and B which are connected. So I need to do the intrusion identification before the packets are delivered to either A or before the packets are delivered either to B. Okay, so where would I do the intrusion detection then? In that case, there was a solution that we will do the intrusion detection in the network. Okay, we came up with a solution that NIDS will do a real-time analysis. So real-time analysis ऐसे करेंगे कि हमें B से A को पैकेट जाना है, your B will send the packets to A, but before the packets are delivered to A, your packets would be analyzed by the intrusion detection system, that is the analyzer of IDS. Okay. Now, when the analysis is done, it is assumed that it would be done in a real-time manner. But the problem comes in that whenever the analysis will be done, it cannot be done in a real-time manner. Reason that packet इस पे आया, IDS ने कंपेयर किया arrived packet को with the previous stored packets or found out whether there is any spurious content into the arriving packet. If it is there, then it would drop the packets. Okay, so it was not real time, but it was next to real time. Okay, now in case of NIDS, there is a concept of active sensors and passive sensors, which are distributed across the network, and both of these sensors collaboratively detect the data, collect the data and help to classify any attack as an intrusion with the help of NIDS. Okay, we'll discuss this in tomorrow's class in detail. So you can go through the text which is related to NIDS in your reference document. Okay, any doubt to whatever has been covered till now?
No, ma'am.
Fine. I'll send you these slides and we'll catch up tomorrow.
एक्सक्यूज मी मैम.
Yes.
मैम वो सर ने आज असाइनमेंट दिया था ना मेश और रिंग का,
हाँ.
पता नहीं उसमें एनालाइज करना नहीं आ पा रहा है, कैसे करें? वो तो क्रिएट नोट्स की उसके ड्रॉप टेल की मदद से मतलब कैसे स्पीड देना है वो सब हो जा रहा है, बट एनालाइज करें वो समझ नहीं आ पा रहा है.
एनालाइज करने के लिए मतलब है कि तुमको टेबल बना करके फाइंड आउट करो कि डिले कैसा जा रहा है, कहीं पे कुछ होल्स है क्या।
डिले के लिए क्या डॉट डॉट डब्ल्यू ए डब्ल्यू के फिर से बनानी पड़ेगी क्या फाइल की उसी से होता है
यस।
ये अरे क्योंकि मैंने ट्राई किया तो मुझसे हो नहीं पा रहा था।
ओके, तुम अपना पोस्ट कर दो उस पे,
जी
और आंसर कर देगा वो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। यू कैन पोस्ट वॉट एवर डाउट डू यू हैव, यू कैन पोस्ट दी स्क्रीनशॉट्स, एनी क्वेश्चंस ऑन इट।
जी मैम।
ओके।
जी।